Hey, what's going on, guys? Troll Pal CHH here. We're back here today to talk about the 2-disc 4K release from Synapse of Dario Argento, Tenebrae. Now, first of all, just take a second and admire that artwork. I saw some people on Instagram just gawking over it, and I gotta be honest, it's damn good. We all remember that scene from the movie, if you've seen it, of course, and that's fantastic. I mean, it really looks good. So I'm super excited to talk about this release today. I've talked about Tenebrae a little bit in the past. You know, it's actually a pretty smart idea for a film. You've got this horror writer coming to promote his new book. He gets a little flack about it being maybe a little sexist, maybe a little bit misogynistic, and all of a sudden, there's this killer on the loose around that's kind of mimicking stuff that's coming from the book Tenebrae. So while the police are investigating all this stuff, the author himself is trying to decode his own novel, so to speak. Did I mention that John Saxon is in this? Now, yes, if you're watching Italian horror films from the 80s, there's going to be two people you always need to look out for. John Saxon and Donald Pleasence. Yeah, those two guys, they kind of just popped up in those movies. I'm not going to spoil the ending or anything about Tenebrae because I'm always getting younger viewers to my channel and people that are getting into Italian horror, so maybe they don't know the actual ending of Tenebrae. I won't spoil that for you. But let me tell you a little bit of why you need to see this film. Again, when I talk about Italian horror, I've always said start off with movies like Demons 1 or 2, Zombie, things like that. Suspiria, which is a big staple. A lot of people consider it to be one of the greatest horror movies ever made, which is also done by Dario Argento. Tenebrae is that intermediate Italian horror film. Once you dive into those movies that kind of bridge an American gap with it, you're ready for stuff like Tenebrae. Tenebrae is one of the most beautiful, bloody films I've ever seen. Now, when you talk about Italian horror too, there's always two names that come up: Lucio Fulci and Dario Argento. I think probably 2-1 that would say that they prefer Dario, and for good reason. Dario gets just as bloody, but he comes at it with more of an artistic sense. When you take Lucio Fulci, you kind of give him more of that George Romero type vibe, but you take Dario Argento, and you kind of get more of that Wes Craven type vibe. The way I see it, anyway. That's just the way I can kind of explain it to people that are not so familiar with these two guys. Argento really flexes his artistic muscles in Tenebrae. He had a number of films under his belt by this point. This movie shines in basically every aspect. The story is riveting for Tenebrae, and it's easy to follow. The acting is flawless in it. The dubs are good. That's one thing I had to get over. There was a hump of getting over dubs with these movies, but eventually you don't even notice it anymore. If the movie's good, you can watch anything with a dub. And some of the gore scenes are incredible. There are scenes where girls get slashed with blood everywhere, but they're purposefully in all white. Not to symbolize anything, I don't think, but to just be like painting on a canvas, so to speak. The idea of seeing that blood splatter across this white dress or this white curtain or anything shines like no other, and I think Dario knew what he was trying to do. It was almost like a live painting, except with human flesh and blood. The music in Tenebrae is also very funky and cool and very Italian. You hear it, it gets stuck in your head, and then you start to get addicted to the music to where you kind of want to just listen to it while you're moving around the house. I love Tenebrae, guys. Tenebrae is one of the best 80s Italian horror films, and it's actually a film that I'm seeing more people say, that's my favorite Dario Argento film, because it really is almost, I don't want to say the peak or the climax of his career, but a lot of people would probably say that. I think he had some good movies after this, specifically movies like Opera. But Tenebrae is one of the highest points of Dario's career, and this movie is sensational. So let's talk about this new 2-disc 4K set coming out from Synapse. The picture quality on this, I can tell you right now, is absolutely sensational. It is an incredible 4K, and honestly, I would give it a perfect 10. It looks like it was shot this morning, not yesterday, this morning. It's mind-blowing how the film truly comes to life like nothing I'd ever seen. Now, I have Tenebrae from Blu-ray from Synapse, and, you know, this 4K is literally 4 times sharper and better. I mean, it actually lives up to its name for once, 4K. And there's no denying it when you see it. You watch this and it's like, oh my god, this is what boutique label upgrades can do. There's this difference. Talked about this in the City of the Living Dead review. You know a boutique label 4K transfer when you see it. It's a different caliber. It's incredible. Which release is on this, you're probably asking. This is the original uncut release of Tenebrae, which is the version I think most people have seen, know, and love. It has both the Italian and English tracks to it, which, like I said, I watched the English track with the dub, but you can watch the Italian track with subtitles if you want. Here's something I thought that was important too. It's Dolby Vision, but it's HDR10 compatible. That's something that I think a lot of people prefer to have that change. I noticed some people talk about the benefits of HDR10 as opposed to Dolby Vision. It's a lot of specs and technical stuff that I won't get into, but I know that when people hear that they have the option to go from Dolby to HDR10, they're very excited about that. So that does have this capability. Now, there is a ton of extras, so let's talk about what we got on here. We have the 4K UHD presentation with Dolby Vision with HDR compatibility, original Italian and English front and end titles and insert shots, restored original lossless mono Italian and English soundtracks, English subtitles for the Italian soundtrack, optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing for the English soundtrack, audio commentary by authors and critics Alan Jones and Kim Newman, audio commentary by Argento expert Thomas Rustock, he is an expert by the way, audio commentary by Maitland McDonough, author of Broken Mirrors, Broken Minds, The Dark Dreams of Dario Argento, Yellow Fever, The Rise and Fall of the Giallo, a feature-length documentary charting the genre from its beginnings to its influence on the modern slasher film, featuring interviews with Dario Argento, Umberto Lenzi, Luigi Cozzi, and more. That's a great documentary, by the way. Being the Villain, a newly edited archival interview with actor John Steiner, Out of the Shadows, an archival interview with Maitland McDonough, Voices of the Unsane, an original featurette containing interviews with writer-director Dario, actress Daria Nicolodi, and Eva Robbins, cinematographer Luciano Tavoli, composer Claudio Simonati, I'm bad at pronouncing these names, and assistant director Liberto Bava, Screaming Queen, an archival interview with Daria Nicolodi, The Unsane World of Tenebrae, an archival interview with Dario Argento, a composition for Carnage, an archival interview with Claudio Cimenti, archival introduction by Dario Nicolodi, international theatrical trailer, Japanese shadow theatrical trailer, opening, alternative credit sequences, unsane, and credit sequences. So those cuts come in that super deluxe edition they did last year, but you get the sequences added into this special feature version. And the only thing I want to add about this, guys, is it does have the Blu-ray in here, and the Blu-ray looks really good, but it's remarkable how much better the 4K looks. So if you're going to get this, definitely get this if you are getting it for 4K. If not, you're probably fine just grabbing the old Synapse Blu-ray release. But I urge you, if you're not 4K, movies like this and restorations like this will change your opinion on the format. I promise you. All in all, guys, the 2-disc Tenebrae release from Synapse is incredible. The artwork is great, and the reverse artwork has the original poster art, which I swapped it to so you could see it. I really enjoyed this release, guys, and let me show you the discs before we go. Those are your 2 discs in there. And I'm just happy with this. This is really great. Synapse did a great job. They have a nice collector's version that they put out, but I noticed, like, if you want to wait for the standard editions, they pretty much are letting you know they're doing that, so that's good. And I like the fact that they're giving you different art for that release as well. You know, on the collector's edition, they use the image of another kill scene in here. I won't spoil it for those that haven't seen it. But I gotta be honest, this one's better. This art is fantastic. I love it. So, Synapse, great job on this. I think a lot of people are going to be like, that's the release I want. And I think it's going to sell well. Tenebrae, guys, 4K 2-disc set from Synapse. Go out and get it soon. Pre-order it on Amazon. You're not going to want to miss this one. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.